My name is Sheila Orms. I am a respiratory therapist. I've been doing that for about 9 years, and I live in Dalton, Georgia. I've lived here most of my life. I was raised in an Adventist home, and it was my brother and I. He and I went to Adventist schools all of our life, except for me. When I got into the 10th grade, I started having a job outside of the home and was influenced, I guess, by people that I worked with. So I somehow talked my mom and dad into going to public school. And I went to public school my 11th and 12th grade years. And that's where I met my first husband. And he and I got married right out of high school. And he was not an Adventist, and so I lived in not really even what I would consider a Christian life with him for 7 years, and then we divorced. After that, I moved to Texas, where my parents had moved to, and lived out there for about 6 or 7 years, I think, and that's where I met my second husband. And he also was not an Adventist. That's probably one thing that I would encourage kids to do these days, is to listen to the advice of their parents, because generally they have some pretty good advice, and I was kind of stubborn and hard-headed and didn't really listen to good advice. But Steve and I also did not live as Adventists, and we had 2 children together, and that would be Stephen, my oldest, and he's 26 years old, and my daughter, who is 18 years old, Allison. And I consider Allison and Stephen to be my greatest blessings. It was at the time that Stephen was born that I started thinking more about the way I had been raised and wanting to do more of what was right. However, it did take a long time. Allison came along 8 years after Stephen, and after she came along, I had been going to church and taking Stephen to church as well. And I thank God for my children, because I think that is probably what, got me back into living the way that I was raised to live. So God inspired me at that time, to change some of the things that I was doing and to be more dedicated. But still, it's taken me a long time to completely dedicate my life to the Lord, and I just recently have surrendered all, very recently. Last Sabbath, I was just really moved by the sermon that we had. It was a call to open God's Word and to study God's Word with other people, and it's just what I needed. And the song that we sang at the end of the service was "I Surrender All." And I had this one thing in particular that I have totally given to the Lord, and He's removed it from me and from my desire. And I couldn't be happier.